So I grew up on a family farm just north of Ballarat, a little place called Torello. Raised as fifth generation, one of 7 children, a good Irish family, as it were. My father has spent his lifetime with mixed farming. My mother was a city girl who moved to the country. So I've had an interesting upbringing, not always easy or straightforward, but I enjoyed the freedom that the farm offered and the life lessons that it taught me and the responsibilities that it gave me at a young age too. Farming and agriculture has always excited me and been a big part of my life. Studied in Ballarat and attended Ag Science in Melbourne University, a 4-year degree there. Was fortunate enough to have a scholarship, spent some time with the Department of Agriculture, spent some time at the Birchip Cropping Group, leading their applied research and extension function, and moved into private consulting in farm business management and agronomy, and had 5 wonderful years there dealing with 100 family farm businesses.
My background in horticulture in Australia goes back actually before me to my grandfather and father, but that was predominantly in retail. And when we all came together in the early 60s, we since then moved through into wholesaling, and in the last 2 decades into growing and production. So in this time we've become the Costa Group, which is now a listed entity, has now become a significant grower of many products like mushrooms, citrus, berries, bananas, grapes, and a number of products. So we're very heavily invested into growing in horticultural sphere. The family business growing to a size where it was listed and is now, of course, a public entity, that then left me sort of looking at what was the next opportunity in horticulture in Australia. And on speaking with Liam Lenigan as to what the opportunities were in redeveloping underutilised farmland in Australia, it became very obvious that where the need for further development in horticulture was very apparent to me with my background, and to match this up with what Liam was able to do in acquiring and sourcing really good, arable land that could be converted from lower value crops such as dry farming into high value horticultural products. It was just like a marriage made in heaven as far as bringing the opportunity together.
Along the way, I had continually recognised the presence of underutilised and undercapitalised assets, and I guess that was a source of frustration for me. I thought there's some wonderful opportunities going begging. I'd heard, continually about the hardships of agriculture, and they certainly exist, but I felt for people to criticise without putting their best foot forward and utilising the resources and skills available to them, that wasn't necessarily a great position to take. So I guess I've challenged myself to do something different and not be one of the whingers, be part of presenting a solution. And so goFARM was founded by myself 7 years ago.
When you look in the rural community in Australia where goFARM puts a major project together, we see, without being brash about it all, but as a matter of course, it brings a whole different flavour to the community. It transforms it in many ways, in the sense that it brings a whole new lease of, new term of permanent employment, but also creates a lot of work for all of the trades in the areas, the electricians, the plumbers, etc., etc. All of the supply lines, food supply lines, produce supply lines. It basically just re-energises a community. Because remember, most of the communities around which we work, they're small towns. So a project the size of a goFARM project can be really sizable.
goFARM as a business, it's grown beyond what I'd initially thought perhaps possible. We now operate across the continuum of the property cycle in agriculture, from effectively land banking, land and water assets, through to transformation, through development, and taking those resources to highest and best use. We're involved in the operation of farm businesses, and at the other end of the spectrum, we're involved in the asset management function on behalf of institutional investors.
The investment strategy of goFARM is very, very deliberate. There's really 5 key steps. The first is our purpose, and then it's our research, our strategising, our acquisition and our transformation process. So the purpose, it's really about improving Australian agriculture, delivering and returning, creating wealth for our investor group, and then leaving a very positive legacy and an improvement for the districts or the communities and the industries that we invest in.
We see a lot of underutilised and undercapitalised assets scattered right across the agricultural landscape, and so we think there's an opportunity there to add enormous value for the benefit of the Australian economy, for the benefit of job creation and supporting rural and regional townships, and of course wealth creation, and our purpose ties all those things together.
goFARM investments, when it comes to the local community, and this is one of the important facets to goFARM's operation, it firstly is to, apart from understanding the soil and the water, is understanding the local community in which we need to work and with whom we need to work very closely.
We don't just capture funds and then deploy them. We are asking for investor support for very specific investments against which we need to perform. So that ultimately leads into the opportunity to acquire assets, and then based on our research and our strategy, it is then our task to transform those assets accordingly.
goFARM has a group of loyal and engaged investors. They come from a diverse range of family offices and high net worths. We're extremely lucky to have most of them who have a level of affinity with agriculture and are supportive of what we do. We offer them not only investments that our goal is to achieve consistently high returns, but also an investment in that provides a positive impact to regional Australia.
Well, goFARM's been fantastic for the agri sector. As a mid-sized family farming operation, we did everything ourselves. We relied on family members to carry out the day-to-day tasks on the farm. But as we expanded and things grew, we quickly realised that model wasn't going to work in an expanded environment. So we've had to get a lot more professional in terms of the way we recruit and manage quality staff. Our decision-making process has been, it's a lot more professional now in terms of our grain marketing, our machinery purchasing, agronomy and planning.
When you're looking at horticulture and agriculture across Australia, and we've seen so many small farms that were once viable that are no longer viable because of size and economies of scale. So what goFARM does is aggregate a number of smaller holdings, identifying the correct soil types, identifying water sources, sorting out permits, and basically bringing a number of non-viable smaller properties to combine them into what we term as investment grade, a sizable asset with all of the different facets.
We hold a very deliberate approach to asset development. I see others in the market do it as a consequence of some other objective, and it might be as a growth component to their existing operations or to achieve a certain end, to build a certain exposure. But to take the property development angle into agriculture and say, through transformation comes the opportunity for job creation and wealth creation, and that is able to be replicated across landscapes and across industries, I think is unique. We're not aware of others doing it, and it's a great point of difference, and it's something that we look to leverage as much as possible.
So this field is a property just north of Numurkah. It's in the Murray Valley district of northern Victoria. So I'm just here having a bit of a look at the soil. The soil's in beautiful condition. The crop itself is healthy. We're just waiting on some decisions from Mother Nature regarding rainfall and a little bit more moisture. But beautiful, healthy crop, developing nicely. We've had great weed control, good timely fertilising events, and by and large the conditions are very, very good. I grew up in the country. I've been regionally based in a couple of different roles. My background is in the field with production agriculture and also in irrigation infrastructure. The opportunity with goFARM was multifaceted, a young company with a strong demonstrated record of delivering really great projects, and projects that are completely aligned with the purpose of improving Australian agriculture.
A lot of agriculture is short of capital, and goFARM's been very successful in bringing capital in from outside agriculture and investing that capital into farms and enterprises that have been probably underperforming or there's some upside to. So bringing that outside capital in has enabled the development of farms to reach their capacity.
There is a perception, and I guess there's a experiential reality for a lot of people too, that farming can be difficult, returns can be low. I guess we're trying to turn that on its head and saying, well, that may be the case when done this way. What about we tackle it from another angle? And I think our focus led by the research, but our focus on transformation of assets, finding those underutilised, undercapitalised assets and putting in place good technology, good plans, good people, and the prudent application of capital to unlock those productivity gains and those land use changes really underwrites the downside and in fact opens up all the opportunity of the upside.
In
In these marginal rainfall areas, we didn't have canola, for example. We didn't have the pulses, the varieties of pulses that are available to growers these days. In terms of rotations and getting the best out of your soils and nutrition, we are growing crops on less rainfall because of all the tools that are available to us and soil conservation. You get a day like today, you can nearly hear the crops growing. And there's been reasonable rainfall, but still under the long-term average. It's amazing looking around at the production that we have. The environment is a hell of a lot better off now.
So yeah, I look after the day-to-day operations of the farm here. So responsible for putting in the crop, making sure that our crop hygiene is really good. We crop just a bit over 10,000 hectares here, so it's a fairly busy job. So typically we start early to mid-March with putting in crops like vetch, and then progress through over a 6, 7, even up to 9-week period, sowing other crops such as barley, wheat and canola in that mix as well. So I started with Best Management Services in around 2014 and then moved to Yarrabee here in 2018 and have been actually working for goFARM since then.
I'd like to encourage particularly younger viewers to really have a good hard look at agriculture and horticulture in Australia. It's not what it used to be 50 and 100 years ago, back-breaking work demanding 7 days a week with no respite at all. You know, we now have, particularly in corporate agriculture, we now have right sort of systems and strategies and the equipment, and the scale of the developments now is so much bigger. It's a far more exciting business now than when I was a lad.
If you have that mentality that you want to go out and achieve and do things and involve other professionals in your inputs into your farming operations, involving all the new technologies and the tools that are available that are out there today, and just go out and have a go. Yeah.
It's just such a satisfying feeling to see all the hard work that you put in actually translate to growing crops and then creating food and hay for people and animals at the end of the day.
I get asked, where's the inspiration for the name goFARM come from? What's it mean? I get asked, where's the inspiration for the name goFARM come from? What's it mean? I guess for myself and my shareholders and staff, it's a directive. Go farm. Like, why wouldn't you? And we're very passionate about the business of agriculture. We see enormous opportunities, and we think it should be a directive to all to get involved and go farm. The epiphany for goFARM, it was probably born in a paddock sitting behind a mob of sheep on the family farm 35 years ago. I've always had a burning desire to be involved in agriculture, to own my own company and to contribute to agriculture.
The proudest achievement of goFARM I see is the team that we've put together. When you look at Liam started virtually on his own, and now there's a team of young people who are really capable and just so keen to get ahead and deeply entrenched in both their education, their training, but also in the local knowledge of all of the different areas in which we have properties.
goFARM employs quality local people who support the local communities in which they live.
My colleagues in the goFARM team have a really wide range of skills that are all, structured very deliberately to complement each other.
The culture at the moment is a very strong position. We work hard on maintaining this, and it's not just a responsibility of the board and management, but all staff understand that they're also responsible for maintaining a high level. That shows through in the engagement and motivation level of the team.
goFARM supports us in a lot of different ways. Technically, they give us a lot of support by giving us advice. They've got some great contacts. I mean, they've been around for a fair while now, and they know a lot of people in the industry who can really give us some good service and advice.
History will prove it's harder than you imagine. It takes more time, it takes more money, and it takes a hell of a lot more patience. And patience isn't something that comes naturally to me, so I've had to learn the hard way. When I first established goFARM, I had a vision for what we could achieve, but I had no investors, and I had no assets, and I had no staff. And so it's been very much an exercise in pulling all those things together.
We've built that now to a business where we have an enormously engaged staff group of some 20 staff here in the head office, as well as crew out and about on farm, of course. And we have a highly engaged group of investors, and there's a lot of collaboration between staff and investors, and a lot of buy-in for what it is that we're setting out to do and what it is we're actually delivering.
I think the future of the agricultural sector for the Australian economy is very bright. I think we'll see it changing. I think we'll see a greater preponderance towards higher value products, and hence that's what we focus on in goFARM, is to get maximum value out of available land and water.
goFARM has a clear strategy to expand nationally, and this means that we have a gradual approach through Tasmania, Queensland, further into New South Wales and Victoria, South Australia and WA. It's not always the greatest to be the biggest and the best, and that's not what we're about. We're about having the right people in the right seats on the bus, enjoying ourselves and carrying out our vision and our purpose of improving Australian agriculture.
I had a good mentor, and he remains a good mentor, a chap by the name of Quentin Hewitt, Wiry Hewitt from Warwicknabeal, and he's a father of 3 girls, one of whom was an Olympian, and the lesson he taught those girls and instilled in me was you've got to dare to dream, and you've got to back yourself, and you've got to have a go, and don't be the old grumpy fella at the end of your career that has a long list of regrets. And so, I guess in his own way, he's inspired me and motivated me and given me the permission to dare to dream and back the vision.
Oh, my vision for goFARM, I'd love to think goFARM one day will be a household name, and it'll be a symbol of energy, of growth, of excitement, and hopefully re-engage the Australian community with its roots in rural Australia and production agriculture.